I think there's a bit of both. I do think the media, they always have an agenda, and I think that there is a lot of hype. But saying that, there's also a lot of knife crime that goes, unpublicized. It swings in roundabouts, to be honest with you, because those of us that's been in this for a very long time, working with young people,
yeah,
and especially young, hard to reach young people, there's been different seasons where it's gotten really quiet, knife crime or gun crime's gone down, and then it comes back up again. And what we don't want to keep doing is knee-jerking and, coming together frantically saying, what should we do? I think we need to just consistently be pacing ourselves and continue to work with young people, especially hard-to-reach young people. And, one by one, step by step, we can begin to see some solutions.
Okay. Who do you consider to be hard to reach young people? What is a quite...
A hard to reach young person is someone who basically is probably not in education, not in training, so they call it NEAT.
Okay.
Someone who basically is in social services, someone who is known to the police for petty crime, someone who is known to have gang affiliation, so young people who have not really integrated into society or has become a menace to society in some kind of way.
Okay.
So hard to reach young people could be many different things, and sometimes they may not even be involved in crime per se, but they, for some reason, they're just not integrated. They're not interested in education. They're not interested in doing positive things. So there's many different ways how we can, describe hard to reach young people.
Okay. And I remember when we last spoke, you made a really important point, which I held on to, which was about parenting and choosing life partners.
Yes.
That you think a lot of these issues stem from that, from the initial inception.
Yes.
We need to ensure that we make the right choices.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and can you expand a little bit more?
I really do believe this. I believe that, when you are about to, go into a relationship, I think we're living in a time now where you can't just basically go into a relationship because of your own needs. You've got to think about the future. You've got to think about the person that you're going to be getting with, what kind of background do they come from? Do you know if they're involved in anything that they shouldn't be involved in?
Yeah.
Do you know their family? There's different things. I think it's very important now not just say, okay, this person is good looking, this person is got this or that. Those things are great. It's wonderful. It's nice. But I think you got to go a little bit deeper. And I think that sometimes, and this is not throwing no judgment on anybody because we've all dropped off in one way or the other, in decisions that we've made. But I just believe that if you're going to have a child with someone, if you're going to have a child, you're bringing a child into this world, and you're not sure of the person that you're with, and whether or not they will be around, and whether or not they will be able to support, and whether or not they themselves have good judgment. How can you bring a child into this world knowing that person is on unstable ground? I just think it's very important that, if for example, if a lady's going to get with a guy and he's got like about 5 children who he does not even take care of, that's a red flag.
Yes.
That's common sense. You don't need someone to come and give you a placard and say, do not get with this guy. If you're going to have a child with somebody, you say, oh, you'd be a great dad, my children will be handsome. No, come on, it's not about that. It's okay, if he's got children, does he mind his children? Does he look after his children? Is he a good dad? Is he a good role model?
Yeah.
These things you do have to look at. It is important.
Yeah, because I guess it all has a ripple effect on us if
of course,
children don't have stable homes, and Okay, that's I like that point that you've made, and I think it's something to definitely take into consideration. But I also wanted to talk to you about mothers that you have been in contact with, who in one way or the other has been affected by youth crime, and how,
I mean, this is it's a very difficult and sensitive one. I mean, with the work that I do, I'm in contact with a lot of parents, and you know, a lot of times my phone is constantly ringing from mothers who just don't know what to do. You know, they've just got to the end of their tether where it's like, what do I do now with my son? You know, he's gotten himself caught up with the wrong crowd. You know, they know that they're being used and told to do things that they don't really want to do, but they're just so caught up with everything. And oftentimes the parents just don't know where to turn. And obviously we've had parents who have lost their child to knife crime, and it's been really powerful because even in the Pray for Youth events, you've had parents come to share their story of forgiveness.
Okay.
You know, how they've had to really ask God to help them, and they've come and shared their story of forgiveness, how they had to forgive the perpetrator. As a matter of fact, the next Pray for Youth next week, Friday, we have a family coming, you know, that is going to be sharing the story of how they had to deal with, you know, their son, their brother, you know, being killed, and how they had to forgive the people that done it. You know, so that is quite powerful. But at the same time, there's other parents who just need support. They need to know how their child is not listening to them. Their child is basically, you know, just become this stranger in the house, you know. And I really do believe that there's simple ways as well. You know, if there's an uncle, if there's someone in the community, if there's, you know, an elder in the church or somebody who can talk to that young person, not just talk to them, but probably make some sacrifices to probably be around them for a little while and just say, look, you know what, I'm going to check on you 2-3 times a week. You know, we're going to probably go out and do something. And, you know, you'd be surprised how that can turn a young person's life around.
Yes. Oh, but sometimes it's hard for mothers to reach out.
It is. Sometimes it's just the fear of rejection or the fear of, you know, or embarrassment.
Yeah, the judgment of it, that, I'm not doing a great job.
Yeah, but, you know, right now we're in desperate times, and I think that if you have some people around you, especially if you're connected to the church, there's got to be some older men, you know, who you can talk to, some uncles, you know, come on, you know, at the end of the day, we have to really begin to see that, you know, it's not my child, but it could be my child. So I should probably, you know, make some sacrifices to help someone else. Yeah. You know, and I think that we're living in a time now where people can become very, very selfish. You know, as long as theirs is okay, as long as their house is good, as long as their children is, you know, I'm not concerned about no one else. But, you know, we need to really kind of like reach out to some parents who are struggling and just offer some support.
Yeah, I think you've echoed, because we've been following this series a lot, and that's been echoed throughout, that it's important that we all be our brothers and sisters keepers, I guess.
That's right.
Don't just put a blind eye to things, because you putting a blind eye to that child will probably have an effect on your child, because we're all in the same sort of environment. Your child will influence that child will influence your child, vice versa. Exactly. It's a community at the end of the day, isn't it?
And that's it. That's exactly it. You know, we have to see ourselves as a community of people, and you know, and not be so, you know, separated. You know, I mean, obviously, look, you know, there's checks and things that, you know, you got to have. You can't just have anybody come to your house and, you know, anybody that says, well, I'm an uncle. You know, I mean, you got to do your checks. And, you know, especially if, you know, someone else can say, look, I refer this person I believe will be able to help you. You know what I mean? I just think that we need to be more hopeful and just more loving. You know, I think that as a community, you know, there's some great things that are going on in the community, and I think that, you know, we can do more to really support one another and to offer some kind of help. It may be something small, but at least it's something. Yeah.
And if you can just recap again with your organization, what is the aim and how you've moved, you know, what progress you've seen?
So basically, since 2016, Pray for Youth UK has gone around London. You know, we've gone to Brent, to Lambeth, you know, Waltham Forest, Haringey, and different areas, and we've had these prayer meetings. We've pulled people together. We've had very powerful stories, and we've actually seen young people come to Christ. You know, we've actually seen young people come to Christ, and we do believe that this is something that the church ought to be doing. This is the church response. Yes. You know, it's not the only thing that can be done, but it is the church's response. It is what we believe that we should be doing is praying. And but then also not just to pray, but to also get out in the community and engage with the community, engage with the young people through projects and initiatives, you know, and to encourage and support. But we've been going around. We're getting ready to go to Hackney, which is the second time we've done Hackney now. The first one was in Hackney. Okay. And Hackney is kind of like the crime rate has kind of like risen again. Okay. So we're going to be in Hackney on the 4th of May at the Bridge Academy at 7 o'clock for the next Pray for Youth. But, you know, we have seen communities come together, and that's one of the aims of Pray for Youth. Yes. Is to bring the community together, you know, especially people and families who just don't know what to do and just need some kind of encouragement and prayer. And this is what Pray for Youth has been doing. Fantastic. So it's on Friday the 4th of May. Yes, that's next week, Friday the 4th. At the Bridge, you said? The Bridge Academy, and that's at Laburnham Street. Okay. And that's in Hackney, E2, 8BA. Okay. And how can people get in contact with you? They can email me at pray, the number 4, and then youth at faithcity.org.uk. So that's pray, the number 4, youth at faithcity.org.uk. Or they can simply call the office on 0207 249 6573. Okay. And do you also have a Facebook page called Pray for London, Pray for London, Pray for Our Youth. They can also join that as well. Fantastic. And if they were to call up, if a mother was to call up or a father was to call up, would you be able to then refer them to someone or an organisation that could help? There's a number of different agencies and groups that we work with, that we partner with, that we can refer them, you know, and we also offer prayer as well, you know, and encouragement and support, you know, but we can definitely refer them to different organizations who be able to help as well. Fantastic. Pastor, thank you for your time this morning. You're welcome. And I know it all will go well because we can see improvements already. Definitely. And thank you for your great work. Thank you. And I'll if you send us information, we'll ensure that we'll forward it on and post it on. So that others can be part of it. But great, thank you. It was great speaking to you this morning. Thank you so much. All right, take care. Bye. Take care. Bye.
It was a well-paying job, respectable, wearing a suit and tie every day. But I drank 24/7. Drank on the way to work, drank at work.
I never could come to terms with admitting that I had an alcohol problem or a pill problem.
I decided to get clean, and so I went to the Narconon program.
Not only did I handle my drug addiction, I completely knew how to live life.
Call Narconon today at 01435 512 460. 01435 512 460.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
Salad, fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realised. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Yeah. Now, to copy this tune, press this. What else?
Baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. Papa, he got me a fine photo. Baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. Papa, he got me a fine photo. I'm in love with your life. Boy, you know what I like. I can't wait to be with you tonight. I'm in love with your life.
What else? I'm living on belly. Yeah, we're feeling me vibe. What do you brand? Did you by my side? So don't be shy, baby. Brother, I'm enjoying but we didn't copy me. Family, some for with you when I want who's a me a guy, baby. I can see you feeling me. Send me pen, I will Jimmy D. My trouble, let until me can reply, baby. I promise on my honor, baby girl. I wanna bring you to Ghana for summer. Me with me and nobody. I say, me my truck and come. On the Panyasika, you know I got what you need. I'm ready to give it to you when you're my customer. Happy with the how, but what did I grab it cool? Mini dime, but you better you were one corner. Yeah, what pen I make a rock in your body for sure. I no go promise anything, I just wanna let you know, girl, copy that.
I'm in love with your life.
Baby girl, so we feeling the vibe. Think I know we'll take you for a ride.
You know what I like.
I bet you too, you know what I like, baby.
I can't wait to be with you tonight.
But you should move on with your side. Baby, look into my eyes.
I'm in love with your life.
Yeah, this is what the vibe. What else? I'm in the phone, baby.
Baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. Give me a fight.
One,
baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. I got the wave, I got the juice. Boy, come sip on it, yeah. I know you like it. I know you want it for real. See my prayer, show my wallet. Show my family dealing. Boy, could be there. I'm in love with your life. Boy, you know what I like. I can't wait to be with you tonight. I'm in love with your life. So come to baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. Papa, he got me a fine photo. Baby, batteries don't know. Anywhere you go, me I want to. Papa, he got me a fine photo.
ABN Radio, home of Afrobeats.
I can't take your pain away, but I can't make you feel better. Make you feel better. If you stay another day, stay another day, we can do it together. From sundown to sunup, we go walk the walk together. We go do the do forever. From sundown to sunup, we go walk the walk together. 'cause I'm always on time, yeah, boy. In the night, in the day, give you my life, yeah, boy. My love is yours. Give it to you, no be joke. Baby, now you that for sure. If you come, my love is yours. Give it to you, no be joke. Baby, now you that for sure. One lele, one le power. One lele, one remove. You want it, gonna come here. Make me stop the fight, oh, look. One lele, one le power. One lele, one remove. You want it, gonna come here. Make me stop the fight, oh, look. Bring it back to me. I can't take your pain away, but I can make you feel better. Make you feel better. If you stay another day, stay another day. We can do it together. From sundown to sundown. We go work together. We go do the do forever. From sundown to sundown. We go work together. We go do the do together. Yeah. Baby, wait for me. Yeah. Would you stay with me? Yeah. No regrets, baby. Like a soldier, would you fight for me? Baby, wait for me. Would you stay with me? No regrets, baby. Like a soldier, would you fight for me? Oh, you make me feel. Oh, you give me joy. You dey make me wanna follow. You dey for my mind. Oh, you bring me joy. Oh, you give me joy. You dey make me wanna follow. You dey for my mind.
J-Sips.
Dr. Dollar Entertainment.
This is ABN Radio, Afrocentric, Cosmopolitan. We are London's Afropolitan station.
ATG Music.
Bumper to bumper, I be drama. I'ma get a kilo kisaya. Say, Idilo to BB Kardashian. Idilo to BB Kardashian. Say, bumper to bumper, I be drama. I'ma get a kilo kisaya. Say, Idilo to BB Kardashian. Idilo to BB Kardashian. Baby girl, what you wanna do?
Magic.
Okay, you're listening to the Discourse with me this morning, Esther Alade, on Friday the 27th of April. I've got Junior back with me again. 3 times a charm.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So thank you for helping me out this morning. So we were just talking to Pastor
Junior Spence, yeah.
And I kind of brought up the topic where there's a debate going on where some people are saying to me, oh, it's all a media hype. It's not really happening. If you check out the statistics, that's not the case in regards to knife crime. There's a hidden agenda behind it all. And
okay, before you read that article, my point is this: whether or not it's a media hype or not, even if one person died, one person has died, and I think that shouldn't be something that should be up for debate. It shouldn't be talked about at all. I don't care whether or not a media is having a spin on it or other people are having a spin on it to have a whole political agenda. That's not the point. The point is there are people dying.
I think that is also a point.
Yeah.
We know there are people dying, but does it not make us look bad? Well,
black people.
Yeah, if it's always been highlighted that there's always issues within the black community, this is heightened in the black community.
I agree with you on that because I think this is a dicey situation. But the thing about this youth violence problem, enigma, is that I feel, again, I keep coming back to this, but I feel it's everybody's role. Everybody's got to play a part in this. But I feel people, black inspiration, black influential people have not done enough, okay, to handle this issue. Again, I have not been so much of a person that advocates for people to go out and blame the government for all of this, blame the mayor. It's fine. I feel they should take a lot of the blame for all of the things that are happening. But the thing is, if you keep talking to somebody and asking someone to do something and nothing is being done about it, and nothing is changing, the wisest thing to do is to start to look internally, which is what a lot of the campaigners and the people that have become very influential in stopping the knife crime are saying. Let's stop being outward looking. Let's become inward looking. Let's see what we can do. Let's garner energy. Let's garner support. Let's get together on this and deal with this issue ourselves, because the government is really seriously not ready to do anything about this.
But I'm not sure
really.
what is it that people are asking the government to do.
So there's a tweet out here. Somebody saying, instead of Sadiq Khan and his people, blaming and talking so much about Donald Trump and his racist comments towards Muslims and all of that, he should fix the mess in his city. And I agree with that. You have Sadiq Khan being so outspoken and vocal about what Donald Trump is saying. And I believe all of that is because of his own personal religious affiliation.
Yes, so it's
he should understand that when black people talk about this as well, it's because we are black and we want you to do something about it. But I think what people want them to do is, this is the thing, everything really goes hand in hand. Since there's been a drop in funding for the police, what has happened here?
So that's the point. People want more policing on the streets. But then the issue that we know about police is that they are, at times,
when it comes to bias against black people.
So why would you want more police on the road where they are going to probably, you're more likely to be stop and searched, you're more likely to be stereotyped or victimized by the police. So it's like, why do we want that?
I think what makes this easy as well is that we've got to recognize, and they have been so helpful here at ABN Radio, is that Met Black Police Association. There are Black Caribbean police people.
We should get them on.
Exactly, we should definitely get them on again. June is part of the executives. I hope she's listening. If she's listening, June, want to get you back on here. I think I'm going to try to fix that and get somebody on for you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Next week Friday, that'd be a good thing. Yeah, because they've been so supportive. I think the thing is this: if there's all of that stereotype, white police, black people in the community, and all they've got to do, especially in major areas like North London, like Tottenham and Walthamstow and all of those areas, get black police into those areas to fix the issue. It's that simple. I do not think this is something that is up for a debate.
But the thing is, if you do, it's still going to be the same issue. Because if you do get black, white, whatever it is, you know there's an issue in that area. So you are going to be more likely to stop and search a young person.
No, but really on a more serious note, if I was to step out, this has never happened to me before. But that is why I think, was it Dexter
that came in? Yeah.
He mentioned the fact that,
if you keep
when he asks,
go on, you say the point.
Yeah, but that's one thing he mentioned. And when he asked you if you had been stopped and searched before, and you were like, no, he was like, it's because the way you dress, the way you carry yourself. These young people are out and like hoodies and all of them. There's that stereotype. But I digress. Back to what I was saying. If we can get, if I was to be stopped and searched by a black policeman, I'm thinking the way he would go about it would be because of the fact that I think really it's not so much about being stopped and searched, because if I have nothing to hide,
how
you approached, and that is what I think Dexter talked about. Is like, because when they meet you, first of all, the reason you're handcuffed, the reason you're asked to put your hand behind you is because you are a threat. You're seen as a threat, or like you have a serious danger to people around you. And so so walk up to me, tell me this, stop and search. Do it. But go about it in a more civil way. This is something that we are doing. But like Dexter mentioned last week, you're stopped in search in a place like in the city, and you have people looking all around you at you. You're a black person. Exactly, so embarrassing. And at the end of the day, they discover nothing at all. Like, you understand? That's the thing. I think the police need to be more civil about this. And I am sure they've gone through a countless number of trainings on how to handle this issue. And so I do not know why this continues to be an issue. I think the thing is, this has to be properly sectored. Search white people, search black people, search everybody. If you want to do that, just do that. That's the thing.
I think some of the reasons why from my understanding, regards to stop and search, is that there's an alert about who they're looking for.
Exactly. What also there's intelligence, and so
So if you fit that profile, then they're more likely to stop you.
Exactly, that's the thing.
So if a crime has happened, you happen to be wearing a hoodie. So
again, that is what begs the question of how are they formulating their intelligence? Are they formulating? I think that's the most important thing, because when they are in their rooms, their private rooms, having those private meetings, the boardroom meetings, what is the basis of their intelligence, and why do they decide to censor a certain group of people? I think that's the most important. That's what people have had the problem with it. The fact that why is that all of your intelligence that comes out is always biased against black people and people in a certain.
Let me read this report from the government website. So it's race and the criminal justice system. This was dated Race and Criminal Justice System 2016, it's titled. And it says here that specific findings, victimization, the mixed ethnic group was the most likely to be a victim of personal crime. And that's at 7.4%. And the Asian and Asian British ethnic were least likely, 2.6%. Additionally, black ethnic groups were 4 times more likely than white groups to be a victim of homicide, so murder. So if it's a violent crime, I guess it's more likely, as from their finding, happens within the black community. So if they're looking,
obviously you want to start with such people, but the thing is, I think it's sort of normal, because when it comes to the people of very low economic classes, we the black people, when it comes to people that are less educated, poorly educated, it's the black people and all of that. And so there is this natural stereotype that would definitely inform whatever decision, whatever intelligence that they would want to come out with, that would be to target black people. And so then that begins to bring up the debate again. If you know this is the issue, and people from poor homes, people who are less educated, are the ones that are more susceptible to crime, become more of the perpetrators and victims of crimes as well. Fix the issue then.
Well, which is what Pastor Junior just said, that hard to reach, because I asked him who are the hard to reach, and he said those who are not in education, not in training, not in social in social services, and known for the police for petty crimes. So that's been identified. So if you know, I guess that's what we need to address. Ensure that most people are in school.
Precisely.
If a child starts playing up, you tackle it from there. And I guess for mothers, it's a case of ensuring that your child is placed within a system.
I know we are going to talk about this, but that is where I always feel for these single mothers. It's such a difficult thing.
But sometimes it happens with, it's less likely, but those with both parents
as well.
Children are easily influenced, so I guess it's about forming, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Just grounding your child and implementing.
Being a part of their lives, really.
Self-esteem, self-confidence, being able to say it's okay to stand out and to be different, not to conform. You are enough. You are good enough. Empowering thoughts.
It's good you mentioned this, because I think we were talking about this, on the morning show on Tuesday. And the fact that I think this is where I begin to look inward. I feel a lot of these problems that have come up again have come from parents that moved from Africa, came in here and settled. So let me give a bit of background to this. So you have parents that moved here in the 60s or 70s, give birth to their kids. And what they want is, I'm not going to teach you the local language. I want you to have a British accent. That's what I want to do, so that my friends back home can see, oh, I have a child who can speak British English. They have, and you notice something, and this is why the comparison comes, and you notice the stats prove this. This is why people, the Chinese especially, are so strong about their culture, the Asians, do you not find themselves having an identity crisis? That is the thing. But you always have black people having an identity crisis. This is a young black guy growing up. He knows he's black, but here's his mom telling him, okay, this is who you are, you're just British, that's the thing. But he knows typical British people are white, and this is him thinking, where do I come from? Where do I belong to?
Where do I fit in?
That is the thing, and that's the problem that a lot of black people, young black kids have in school, because they are thinking, okay, who do I look up to? He just doesn't know who he or she is. And that is the thing, and that is why I always blame the parents. But when the issues start to come back up, and then we quickly shove the problems off to the government, But you've got to start to work on this thing. Teach them who they are. Let them know where they come from.
I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Because
it's. I find it really, really bizarre, and this could be another topic to discuss.
Yeah.
Where we've gone to Nigeria, and the children there cannot speak their native language.
Can you believe it?
And it's like your parents is talking to you in English and you're replying to in English. You're not speaking Yoruba or Igbo. And it's
no idea, no concept where they come from.
Yeah. Like, why are we the only ones that do that? Because when she said the Asians, that's the first thing they do is speak their language to their children. Children can learn up to 3 or 4 languages.
That is the thing. And so why do you not get them so embedded in their culture, who they are?
So they're grounded.
Where you come from, who you really are, is always going to be so influential.
But then do you think the problem also is that if you're a second generation African in this country, you can't necessarily speak your language either.
Exactly.
So how can you then pass that on?
Well, for people like that, you can sort of understand, but that is why Africa is still there. That's why you can always go back on vacations if you can afford it. No, really, the thing
it's easy. Though,
of course, I make it sound easy, but my point is, we live in an era of technology. It's easy. You can learn a language online. I can learn the local language online. It's easy. There's courses out there teaching stuff like that. There's books out there. There's British born Africans who are writing books about African culture. Get your kids to read these things instead of getting them to watch Peppa Pig and all of that. It's fine, let them watch these things. They're wonderful things to watch, but let them know there's a culture that they have. Also always have that identity problem, and that is what a lot of these young guys that are involved in the gangs are experiencing. This identity crisis, really, that's a problem that you have. And so if we can't work on the culture, where we come from, who we are, what we stand for, our values, our morals, and all of that, we're going to find ourselves so misplaced in a society.
You'd be easily led.
That is exactly what is happening. So why is that the statistics continue to point to people that are coming from broken homes or a home where there's really no parents are not playing so much of a role in their lives, not being being a part of their lives. It's simple. It's because there is no parents, there is nobody to tell them who they are, where they come from. And so that's the problem that we have.
To be on the other side of it, I think also because we talk about families who come from low socioeconomic backgrounds. And that reason is because if you have a single mother, she's probably working 2 or 3 jobs, not physically able to be there 100%. So you're literally leaving the onus on your child to be accountable.
I understand you
for themselves.
But this is why there's got to be a trade-off with something. I understand, because especially African parents here work their socks off, and we respect them for that. It's amazing the work ethic that they have. But you know something, for those of you that are listening, whilst you're out there doing all of the work, you've got to remember you still have a child to raise. I know you're out there working to make money to help the family, make money to train these kids and all of that, but do something. I don't know. And the thing is, there's different parenting models that work out depending on how your schedule is and who you are and where you come from. You've got to make it happen. And most important thing for me is that every single parent must make their children a priority. Because you know this is the thing about parents, when something bad happens to them, you're going to be the one that's going to be so concerned about it. And so why don't you take the basic steps that you have to take to ensure that you know what's happening in your child's life? And the thing again is this, parenting in this era has been made easy again through, and we've got to harness the power of technology. It's not just about Instagram and pictures and all of that. Your child, I'm not talking to civil as parent, but parents give their kids 12, 13 phones and all of that. Instead of allowing your kids to on Instagram and all of that, that's another thing that we'll talk about. To call them when you're at work, when you have a break, call them, how are you doing? If they have a lunch break, let them know you're a part of their lives. That is the thing, basically. You can't be at home to have that physical interaction and all of that, fine. But at least let your child know, I'm thinking about you. You know what, mummy's working for you, daddy's working for you. But he's a call won't hurt.
We're assuming that that's not the case.
We are, but but really, these things don't happen so much, and I think that is because of the fact that, especially for parents that have come out directly out of Africa and have eventually lived on here, is that you don't have those kind of things taught to you back home. Back home, it's more, again, because parents don't have to go and work extensive hours and all that, you have parents around you. We didn't really get that concept of text messaging, calling, and all of that with our parents. It's more like if daddy wants to tell you something, he sits you at a table and talks directly to you. And so I understand them, to be fair to them, a lot of them don't have that inside of the systems, and it's not so much a part of them. But the thing is, you've got to start to make sacrifices. You've got to start to learn something. You'd have parents go like, you know, I'm old. Oh, I don't even know how to handle this. I understand parents, but the thing is, if that is what is going to save your child's life, learn how to use the phone.
Yeah. What was your experience?
I grew up with both parents being past and all that. I had parents who were not strict and going like, do this, do that. I had extremely strict parents, but they were not strict, because I had parents that will talk to you, parents that will sit you down. Parents and you know how we see our fathers back home. Again, the thing for me was that my father was brought up by a white, a Swiss German. So my father's kind of training was more of that kind of thing where you have love, where you have a father hugging you, a father kissing you. Exactly, which is not typical of African fathers. Nice. And so that's where I got a benefit from it. That is the thing. So that was the thing for me. But what worked for me was the fact that he had parents who would sometimes step and be sort of overprotective and all of that. Especially as a man, you want your independence growing up and all of that. And that's one thing that a lot of African men don't have when you're growing up. But for me, it was more about knowing that your parents are with you, letting you know they're praying for you. Your parents sitting down with you and going through your career with you. What course do you want to do? What uni do you want to go? What do you really want to study? They are part of your career. And they're pointing out what they feel your gifts are and all of that. You probably disagree with them on that and saying, this is what I want to do.
So there was dialogue, there was conversation.
That's the thing. It wasn't mono dialogue, it was dialogue, really. And so monologue, sorry, not mono dialogue. So that's what worked for me. But then again, one thing again that helped was that that just gave you a sense that, you know what, no matter what happened, you knew you had your back covered. You knew you had somebody who was looking out for you, and that even though things got tough, you could always go back. Exactly. And that is what has got to be done.
You were very fortunate, because I guess your father knew the system.
Exactly. That is the thing, having lived outside and all of that himself. And so that was the thing. That's what worked for me. And so my example might not help so much, but having friends and all that. One problem that we have in Africa is this, and this is one thing that I think a lot of that same system and culture that we have in Africa is literally what has been taken and transplanted and put directly into this country when they move here. The problem they have is this: I want you to be a doctor. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer. You want to be a musician. No, not in my family. Everybody in the family is a doctor. Everybody in this family is a lawyer. You're going to be a lawyer. That's the problem that we have. And the reason a lot of these kids will go out there and do that is because it's bolster against identity. This is what I feel I can do, and here are my parents telling me you can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's how these young people think.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, well, I'll probably get out and do something else. I'll join a gang then, because if you won't allow me to live the life that I feel I want to live because of this gift I feel and know I have, that will help me develop, that will give me a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment, then I'll find something else that will fill that emptiness. And that is really what is happening to a lot of these young men and women, that young boys and girls that are involved in these things. I keep saying this, these are not bad boys and bad girls. We've got to get this out of our minds. These are not guys that just woke up one morning, it's like, I'm going to stab somebody, I'm going to shoot somebody. No,
they're definitely
it's a process. It goes through a process.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are hurt, confused.
99.9% of them are going through that emotional torture.
Like, we know hurt people hurt people.
Exactly. That is because that's the only way they can vent their spleen. Get out there, do something to release all of that negative energy. That's what's happening. And so we've got to be a part of these people's lives. We've got to help them. And this is where, again, I come back to the government here in the United Kingdom. Why close our youth centres? There's so many. One thing I've always found sort of appalling and quite difficult to understand is this: there are people that can solve this problem, that have started to get results, people like Pastor Junior Spence. Why do you not find these people? Why do you spend £1 million on social media campaigns when there are people that just want £10,000 to support these people that they're bringing home?
Yeah. I still want to know who done that research and said, £1 million would be well spent on Instagram.
And Amber talked about putting how much £40 million now into the whole problem and dealing with it. They've got to get people, and this is where organisations coming back to what you're talking about today. Talk to these influential organisations, get them at the table. You know what? We have this crisis. We really care about this. We know you guys can get results for us. This is how much we want to put into this. Can you guarantee us these results?
Yeah.
Let's get together and have a unified discourse and really talk about this problem.
I like that. A unified discourse.
Is that the new tagline for your show? Welcome to the Unified Discourse here on ABN Radio. No, but really, that's what's got to be done. Yeah. It's simple, but not simple. We've got to put in so much work. There's so much hard work that's got to go into this.
Not only that, we need to come together.
Black community needs to come together. I think it's that time now.
Like, everyone's been echoing, we can't turn a blind eye.
No,
if you see that child, there's an issue, deal with it somehow.
Exactly,
intervene in the best way that you can intervene. If you're aware of certain things that are going on, just find a way to kind of, we've got to be our brothers and sisters keepers.
Yeah, that's what really we've got to do.
Yeah, because it's been affecting innocent children.
Unfortunately, so many innocent
lives have been taken.
And these are smart brains, intelligent minds that are being taken out of this earth at a very young age. Unfortunately, it's got to be dealt with. And sometimes I get so emotional about this because I look at all of the younger people, because I'm a youth leader myself, and I'm thinking, what if you had this had happened to this person? Like, how would you feel about it? And this is where sometimes I begin to think, well, you know what, enough of calling out the government. We'll keep doing that, putting pressure on them. But like he said, what can we do internally amongst ourselves to get this done? And I think one thing, this is where the whole spin by the media and different people comes in. I think there's been so much of conversation and talk about complaining, murmuring, and it's not been so much a solution. Just like people going out there calling out people like Sadiq Khan, Theresa May, and all that is good, that is true. But after all of that has been done, whilst we are talking about and complaining and murmuring, there are people that are still dying. So we've got to find a solution to it. It's good. I think we've done enough of that, but now our conversation and all of that should be directed towards solution.
Yeah, which is
that's what I like doing. Exactly, and that is why I like the fact that people like Pastor Junior Spence have taken this up upon themselves. And I think the media, the ethnic minority media organizations like ABN, I'm talking too much here.
No.
I have 3 seconds here. No, I know, I'm just joking. It was too intense. I just wanted to say something funny.
This contribution has been invaluable. Actually.
So I noticed we had missed a couple of ad breaks. Like we have missed both. That is fine. Let's do the news.
We'll get to the ad break soon. But we'll go to the news shortly. But thank you for that insight, Junior. That was really good conversation. That was good. Unified discourse between the two of us.
We're still on air, so it's not between the two of us anymore. It's not a secret.
That's true. And everybody else that's listening, we're going to go on a quick news break now before I get myself into trouble.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
Photographers have captured the moment the leaders of North and South Korea planted a symbolic pine tree on the border dividing their countries. Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in shoveled soil taken from both nations onto the routes. Earlier, they both stepped over the border into each other's countries ahead of discussions aimed at ending decades of tension. Our correspondent Siobhan Robbins was watching as the men crossed the dividing line.
South Korea's Moon Jae-in invited Kim Jong-un to step over the line into the south. This is the first time that one of the ruling Kim leaders has stepped into the southern side since the Korean War ended in 1953.
In other news, some women who say they're also victims of Bill Cosby think his sexual assault conviction is a victory for justice. The US comedian's been found guilty of drugging and molesting a woman in Philadelphia back in 2004. MPs say the government's management of two of the UK's largest rail companies has caused misery for passengers. They want a review into how performance is overseen and how taxpayers can be protected if franchise agreements are broken. Royal Bank of Scotland has seen its first quarter profits more than treble. The lender, which is 72% owned by the taxpayer, made £792 million. Research suggests a parking ticket is handed out by a private firm somewhere in the country every 6 seconds. The RAC Foundation says the number has risen by almost 1 million in just 12 months. Philip Gomes from the organisation.
It's inconceivable that so many drivers are setting out knowingly to get these sort of fines of up to £100. £100 for what is often a minor indiscretion.
And Arsenal missed a big chance to take control of their Europa League semi-final with Atletico Madrid. They'll head to Spain on Thursday at 1-1, despite their opponents playing much of the first leg with 10 men. That's the latest. I'm Barry Weir.
So that was the news. I'm just going to go through the travel news now.
More news, more information. This is ABN Travel News.
So this is the travel news brought to you by Travel for Media. So on the roads, Wimpole Street, Westminster, Queen Anne Street, traffic lights are reported as all out. So it's saying that at Wimpole Street as W1G in all directions at the junction of Queen Anne Street, traffic lights are reported to be not working, so you need to approach with caution if you're going that way. And M25 junction 14 clockwise entry slip from roundabout A3113, there is minor disruption and up to 15 minutes delay. And this is due to a congestion at the M25 clockwise entry slip at junction 14. Yes, so if you're heading up to the M25, beware of junction 14. And A3211 Victoria Embankment Westminster Bridge, a broken down bus is there. So that a broken down alert of Victoria Embankment, and that's SW1A westbound at the junction of Bridge Street. There's a broken down bus, so obviously there will be delays on that way. And that is it on the roads. Actually, A4 Piccadilly Westminster Half Moon Street, the traffic signals are not under central computer control, so which means they're not working. So if you're heading up to A4 Piccadilly, which is W1J, all directions at the junction of Half Moon Streets, there's a possible chance that the traffic lights are not working, so approach with caution. And on the rails now, late engineering works between Purley and Gatwick Airport from 11 p.m. on Saturday the 28th, which is tomorrow, and up until 9:30 on Sunday the 29th of April. So essential engineering works are taking place between Purley and Gatwick. So if you're heading up to Gatwick Airport, take note. And revised late night service from London Charing Cross and London Cannon Street from Monday the 23rd to Friday the 27th, and that's because engineering works are taking place in London Charing Cross and London Cannon Street. And onto the underground. Minor delay still on District Line. Jubilee Line is part suspended and severe delays. And Piccadilly Line has severe delays. All other services are good. And that is the travel news brought to you by Travel for Media.
More news, more information. This is ABN Travel News.
Okay, so I now have Baroness on the line with me. Good morning, Baroness.
Hello, good morning, Esther. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks
Fantastic.
For the show.
Thank you for coming on.
Very well. Thank you.
Oh, earlier on, I introduced you and said that you're also known as Jimmy Ario.
Yes.
So you are a blogger, you're a media personality, you are a community activist, which we love. We love the word activist. And you are founder of Sade. I said it as Sade because it's spelled as Sade, but how do you...
It's Sade.
Sade, okay.
People that it's not Sade. Sade will mean it's a Nigerian thing.
I know, but I just thought, okay. So Sade, and
it's because it came from. I mean, when this want to continue because when I start talking, I will stop.
No, keep going.
It came from Sisters and Divas Evening.
Okay.
We started about 5 years ago. It started as a one-off networking evening, social networking evening for women only.
Okay.
And, you know, like I said, it was meant to be a one-off event. But because it was so successful and the ladies that attended enjoyed themselves thoroughly, they wanted to have it again and again. And they wanted about every 3 months. I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. I have other things that I do, but let's make it an annual event. And we've been holding it annually since 2013.
Okay.
What we also do is we attach an initiative or a project to it. So it's not just that we're having fun, within ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're also supporting a cause for that year.
Okay.
And we've supported breast cancer within African women. We've supported carers in the community. We supported disability. So this year we decided we're going to, create awareness of gangs and knife crime within the African community.
Okay.
And that was before the craziness of the past month. We were just going to, just create the awareness amongst parents, because you'd be really surprised how many parents or how many Africans were not aware of the seriousness of the problem of gangs and knife crime.
Okay.
Especially where African kids are involved. So that's how we decided, to turn Sisters and Divas Evening into, the acronym is SADE.
Yes,
yes. So rather than going Sisters and Divas, which kind of put people, we discovered that was putting people away, that it's just about women.
Okay.
And especially with this kind of initiative, you want the involvement of as many people as possible, not just women, but fathers, uncles, dads. So we decided we're not going to call it Sisters and Divas this year. We're just going to use the acronym SADE.
Okay,
people can ask what SADE is, and then we can explain it to them.
Okay. But I think so are you calling the campaign African Mothers Against Gangs and Knife Crime?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Okay.
Everything has kind of like evolved.
Okay.
Kind of like changed. We kind of like reinventing things, because like I said, we started it before this spike, that we had in March, April.
Okay.
We started in November, and it was just kind of like African women. And because we were talking about African kids, and then we started, if you make it African,
yes,
it will be, it will be inclusive again.
Yeah.
Something that will appeal to different people, not just Africans, but mothers from everywhere.
Okay.
And because it was the Sisters and Divas, the women thing, we wanted it to be, this is what we mothers are doing.
Okay.
So we lost the African, and we just made it Mothers Against Gangs and Knife Crime. So we are the ones, organizing all these events, but we are inviting everybody in the community.
Fantastic. So you said this started, when exactly did the actual initiative for Mothers Against Gangs and Knife Crime start?
Oh, this started about December.
Okay.
Last year, December, we started on the campaign. We started the campaigning. I think following the murder of the boy in Chiselhurst.
Okay.
That's actually what that's actually what inspired the campaign.
Was it somebody that you know?
I used to go to church with his mom.
Okay.
And it just occurred to me that was another Nigerian boy in the news. So that is how we came about African Mothers. Because I think at that point, that was about the 5th Nigerian boy that I was saying about last year. So that kind of like, it gets your attention a bit more when it's a name you can identify with.
Yes.
When it's an African name, when it's a Nigerian name, then it jumps out more at you. I mean, I'm a blogger. I write about these things all the time.
Yeah.
And I have access to the police med desk where I get news from.
Okay.
And you come across, gang activities, stabbings and all that. And each time you come across a Nigerian name, it's like, oh my God, not yet another one, and another one, and another one. So when that one happened, and I discovered that it was the son of somebody I knew, I decided, you know what? I think it's time to put this out there in the community and let's create awareness.
Okay.
And coincidentally, it was the same time we started to talk about Sisters and Divas for this year. So I thought that is what we're going to tie Sisters and Divas for this year to. We're going to tie it to a fight, or should I say, creating awareness about gangs and knife crime, especially amongst African children.
Okay. And with the children that you know, were they involved? Because, you know, a lot of it is people assume there's a correlation to them being in gangs. And we know some children, that's not the case. Their lives have been, unfortunately, innocently. Well, either way, it doesn't matter if you're part of a gang anyway. But, you know, there's that correlation that were they part of a rivalry thing that was happening and they were caught up in that. Was that the case for some of the ones that you know?
You know, since we started this awareness, I've spoken to people I never thought I was going to meet. I've had discussions with people that have been doing this kind of work much longer than me.
Yes.
I've visited mothers, you know, of stabbed victims, of dead stabbed victims. I visited Abraham Badru's mom.
Yes.
I've spoken with Damilola, I can't remember his son now. He always
the young boy that was...
The young boy...
Damilola Taylor?
Damilola Taylor actually know the dad. He's actually like a mentor to me in this area. But I'm talking about
the one in Chislehurst.
Last year. One of the people that was killed last year. And I've also spoken to Israel Ogunshola, that was killed last month, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So I've visited the parents, and I've spoken to different people. And, you know, what comes up when you first read the headlines, when the story starts to evolve, they want to start, because especially if the victim is an African kid, they want to start throwing these innuendos that is a crime-related stabbing. But then when you meet the parents, or when you read further into the lives of the children themselves, you find out that a lot of them were just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Wow.
Or they themselves are victims. I'll give you a very good example. I'm sure everybody knows about it now. The story of Abraham, for example.
Yes.
Abraham was knowing the gang. He was a boy doing the right thing. You know, his story was that he witnessed an offense many, many years ago.
Yeah.
He actually got commended for it. He got given a medal by the police for it. But unfortunately for him, he had to give evidence at trial. And that's the point where he was marked. Now, allegedly, this is what happened, okay? After the boys came out of jail, they marked him.
Yes.
And unfortunately for him, one of them was released to the address that was close to his mom's house in Hackney. So this is where they attacked him, going to visit his mom after coming from church on a Sunday evening, going to visit his mom. That's where Abraham was stabbed to death.
Yeah,
that was never in the gang. Okay. Likewise, if you talk to the other parents as well, I think there was another Kevin Oduni who also was actually attending a private school.
Yes.
Okay, and he just came home for a break, went out with his friends, went to the cinema where he was attacked.
No.
So when you study a lot of these stories, we're not denying that some of them actually had issues going on in their lives. They have bad friends, they've joined bad gangs for various reasons, because you also have to look at the issue of why our kids find themselves in gangs.
Yes.
Not all of the kids that see it necessary to join gangs are troublesome boys or bad boys. Some of them are roped into gangs. Some of them are coerced into gangs. Some of them are intimidated or bullied into gang membership. And this is what we found out during the course of our investigations, the research and talking to people, that not all of them, even the ones in gangs, are because they're troublesome boys. They could know somebody that's in a gang that's a very close friend, and they are guilty by association.
Because by association. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So those are different kinds of things we found out about gang membership.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a boy being in a gang, one of the recordings I did on my show a few days ago, that even a boy that is in the gang, that is in his teens, I mean, we adults, we parents, we all got down to all kinds of things when we were young.
Yes.
We didn't have gangs in our days, but we had other things. Some of us was over partying. Some of us was jumping fence. Some of us, all kinds of things that the parents got down to. But we grew up. we matured out of all that, and we got our lives back on track. And a lot of us are responsible members of the community today.
Yeah.
So if any one of us had been killed in the course of that, that is that life cut short. We wouldn't have been parents, we wouldn't have graduated from uni, we wouldn't have gotten the jobs we have today, or we won't be doing what we're doing in the community today. So even gang members, we still don't want them dying. We want them to have the opportunity to correct their lifestyle, to make a change, make a right about something, and continue living as responsible citizens.
Some of the conversation this morning has been about mothering in the home, and especially one of the topic was in regards to second-generation Africans, because we're hearing that, yes, it's a lot of young Nigerians or Africans that are being killed. And could it be a case of, you know, if they are going into gangs, not fully knowing who they are? Could it be a case of where, you know, our culture is not being fully passed down from inception of language, learning to speak your own language, having that identity that, yes, I can actually speak my language, I belong. Do you think that's some of the issues that's affecting the home, and that's then transpiring to these children?
Yeah, you know, that's a great one, because I don't know who made this contribution, or anyone that said it, but it would seem like somebody's been listening to me.
Okay.
Because, because one of the things I have actually also worked out, basically, is if you look at let's look at London, for example.
Yeah.
Okay? When my parents generation came into the UK in the 60s,
yes,
and the early 70s, and I was taken back, my younger sister, taken back to Nigeria in the middle 70s, or just early 70s.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is me that was born here, spent at least 10 years before going to Nigeria. But after that, everything about my life, completely African.
Yes.
Okay, my schooling, my education, my upbringing, everything. After I left the UK in the 70s, till I came back in the late 80s, totally African. Everything about me, African. Training, upbringing, teaching, everything. Okay. Now, when I grow up, I'm going to want to practice what I know.
Yes.
It's been an African parent.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so also many Africans like me. Now, let's look at people that came in their 20s for the first time. Okay, there's no Britishness in them whatsoever. They came from Africa, came from Nigeria in the early 20s, some of them in their late teens after university, came here, start having children. Again, they're going to be even more African than somebody like me that had that little bit of Britishness in me before leaving the country. Now, a lot of the kids, if you look at a lot of the kids that are in the late 20s, that are first child or maybe early 30s, you will not hear about these things happening in their midst. Okay, all the children you hear about committing offenses, being involved in stabbing, being involved in gangs, we haven't heard so far Nigerian children in their 30s or the late 20s. My eldest is 26. She's never been in trouble with the police. She's a girl anyway. But it's very, very rarely you hear about these kids at that age being involved in all this kind of problems we're talking about. That's because they got the cream of the Africanness that we had in us instilled in them. But when you now look at the younger ones, or kids that people in their 40s, younger people, younger generation Nigerians, because what I say is that if you look at people in their 50s and 60s, very, very African, they came here later in life. The 40s were probably still much younger when they came in. And then we look at the younger ones, at the third generation, that's those the ones we call the millennials, the ones under 20, under 30, okay, up to maybe about 16, 17. Now, those are the ones that grew up in the era, here in the UK, in the era of that you can't discipline a child, or you can't, all those things. Parenting is a bit softened than what we experience as African parents. Okay. Now, I had a workshop yesterday, and it's one of the issues that came up about the fact that power has been taken out of the hands of parents. Parents can't adequately discipline their child. And you know that when an African is talking about discipline, you know the kind of discipline we're talking about. Okay? Corporal punishment, beating and flogging and all that. Now, as much of an African as I am, I do not want anybody to misquote me or misunderstand that I support child abuse. Child abuse is totally different from child discipline. Okay? There's a level of punishment or there's a level of discipline, strict stuff of discipline you can give to a child that shouldn't cross into child abuse. When you go into the area of child abuse, that is a different thing entirely. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the kind of discipline, strict discipline you instill in a child that would tell them that behavior, you don't want to repeat it ever. Yeah. Because you remember the discipline you were given, and that should take it straight out of your consciousness. Okay. Now, there are a lot of children that we bring up as Africans that never get into trouble. Okay. There are millions, I won't say millions out there. A good percentage of Nigerian children that will never get into trouble, boy or girl, man or woman. Yeah. Okay. But when it comes to the ones that are susceptible, susceptible to getting into trouble, those are the areas we need to focus on, because there might be one in every family. It might be some family that won't have any at all. It might be some family that all the kids have problems.
But do you think that these issues that we mention in terms of language, culture, do you think those have an effect? And also, if you have a mother who's working 2 jobs, she's actually putting the onus on their child to make sure when you finish from school, you come straight home. When you're home, you're doing your, there's that accountability, because I'm going to work in the evening. I've left food for you, and I'm hoping that by 4 or 5 o'clock, you're actually at home and you're doing the things that you need to do. But those are the children I think are more likely to join these,
it's like a double-edged sword. Mothers cannot, you can't do right for doing wrong. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. Some parents have no choice than to work these 2 jobs. If
exactly.
They don't have 2 jobs, they won't have money to put roof over their kids' heads.
Yeah.
Okay, they won't be able to pay their bills, they get into trouble, they get into debt, and then they're being chased about by bailiffs and all that. That is if they don't do this 2 work. For some people, it takes them having 2 jobs to be able to make ends meet. Yeah. Okay. And then, if you do, then again, there's the other side of it. I think what happens is that parents trust their kids, that I should be able to trust you to take care of yourself without getting into trouble. Okay, I don't think there's any parent that would knowingly leave a kid at home, knowing that kid would go out and start looking for trouble. Yes. What I'm saying is that, look, is it Tommy or Top or whatever your name is? I know when you come back. I know you're going to come back from school because I trust you. You're going to come straight home from school because you are assuming that child is old enough at that age to make his way back from school. Not a child, not a minor, not under 10 or 7 or whatever. A child that is 14, 15, by the time they're 11, they're already going to school by themselves. So you are assuming that if you're 14 years old, I'm trusting that you can come home, have your dinner, do your homework, stay at home, watch telly, do your games, whatever it is you want to do, and don't leave the house. That is what I want to think as a parent. But what the kids actually get up to is totally different. Okay. One lady said at my workshop yesterday, said, by the time the mother comes home in the evening, she assumes that the child has been home all day after coming back from school. When you go down the high street, the area like in Bexley Heath, like in Eltham, like in Lewisham and Woolwich and all those places, you'll be surprised sometimes at 4 o'clock, the number of school children you see roaming the streets. Yeah. And you wonder, shouldn't you be home? Even the girls, they're little short, and the boys with their baggy trousers dropping down this and that. And you want to approach them, but you can't do that. You want to approach them. Shouldn't you be home? What are you doing here at this time? You're not buying anything. You're just congregating. You're just chatting away. And when there's a lot of people think this. Now, when there's a huge congregation of school children, they're not dangerous. They don't mean any harm, but their presence intimidates. Yeah. Especially when they're chatting and laughing. You look back and you see they're laughing at you because they laugh so loudly and they chat so loudly and they scream and everything on the buses, on the streets. These kids and their parents are at work as if their kids are at home.
Yeah, I think
I don't share in this parents blaming thing, except when it's very, very obvious that there's serious problems. And it's not just where there's single parents. Yeah. There can be problems with their 2 parents as well. especially those parents don't get on.
Can you hold on to that thought for me while we're going a quick break?
Okay.
And then when we come back, we'll try and sum up. So if you just hold on for me.
Lovely.
Oh man, the knot is so bling. Remember this huge tune? Do your silly bike trick. Is it cricket? We're loving it, loving it, loving it. We're troubling sidekicks. So have a cup of tea.
We can't totally recall the noughties, like if you had PPI and a loan, credit card or mortgage, for example. Luckily, we don't have to. Many PPI providers now have online checking tools. Search FCA PPI for more info.
Do it now!
The Discourse on ABN Radio. Engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio.
This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
My friend gave me a knife because I wanted pride. There was an incident. I got stabbed. I realised I don't need to pick up that knife. I decided to just focus on football. It was tough. Now I'm on the path to achieve my dream. I've been knife-free for a year. Visit knifefree.co.uk.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love
banana.
a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
Salad, fruit and oranges.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Good morning. You're listening to The Discourse with me, Esther Alade. And this morning we've been talking to people who are active within the community and trying to make a difference in regards to youth crime. We spoke earlier on to Pastor Junior Spence from Pray For You, Don't Die Young, Drop the Knife campaign. We had a lovely Junior also participating and giving his point of views. And now I've got the lovely Baroness J, aka Jumia Rio, who's a blogger, media personality and community activist, the founder of SAID, Sisters and Divas and Mothers Against Gangs and Crimes. And just before the break, we were talking about mothers and not putting the onus only on mothers, and how the youth of today, I guess the millennials, how I guess with parenting styles that have changed over the years, with the government being more involved, it's a lot more difficult for parents to discipline their children. And also, I guess for us as a community, it's hard for us to actually say, actually, you guys there, stop doing that. The fear of possibly being attacked because we know they feel they have the laws in their own hands. And I think that would be another topic we'll probably cover in a discourse, because I hear that a lot of African children are being taken into care because of the way that maybe there's discipline in the home and the children reporting their parents. Unfortunately, some of them have been taken into care. But we're talking about you now, actually. So we'll summarize in regards to mothers against gangs and knife crime. We spoke about possibly language being an issue as well. The cultural difference, not ensuring that our children are culturally aware of who they are. You made an example of those who were born here, like yourself, and was taken back at a certain age, but you're very much, your upbringing is very African and your way of thinking is very African. So I guess it's you knowing who you are. You know, you have a sense of identity. And maybe that is the issue where they're caught in between two cultures, where they know that there is institutional racism, there is racism out there. Because one of the issues, one of the points rather that Junior brought up and we were discussing was that not fully knowing who you are, whereas Asian population or Asian children are probably more aware of who they are and their culture because their language is with them right from birth. That culture is embedded in them right from birth. And we don't always do that. Because even I said in Nigeria, I know people who don't speak Yoruba to their children. They'd rather speak English because they want the children to be fluent in English, but they're not really English, are they? I used to...
Yeah, that is another... if you know Ayon the First, he has a show with me on Nigeria FM. And that is one of the things he's always talking about. He's always trying to instill into
I need a drummer. The African. Yes.
That, teacher, we should teach. I had to take my kids in for about 3 years. I took career break. Then I was still working with the police before I resigned, to become a community activist. I took a 3-year career break. I took all my kids with me to Nigeria just to entrench them into the culture of their own people, so to speak. Just to give them that awareness to let them soak in Africa and feel Africa and feel the people. And a lot of people I keep saying that people need to try to do that. If you can afford to, not just throw your kids back home because they've gone off the rails and then throw them in the midst of family, relatives that you haven't even been in touch with, hoping they're going to do your work for you. No. You take time off with your family and take your family to Africa, because that might be the only opportunity they've got or they're going to get, to go to Africa as children. But what that is going to do is that it's going to let them see Africa, because I try to tell my kids from when they were young that, look, the first thing they are going to see about you is that you're a black child. I don't even care if you're, because they all have their English and their Christian names, but look at you. You are black. You are African. That is first and foremost. Even if you never go to Africa, you will always be an African. So we need to still a pride of culture, pride of self, pride in their heritage, and let them know that, yes, you are British. You've got your red passport and everything. Your parents are British. You are British, but you are first and foremost African, and you are also African. And that is what a lot of parents have stolen from their kids, because they come here and then they themselves want to forget about Africa. So what you don't want to remember, how are you going to teach it to your kids? But once parents start to do that, as Africans, there are certain things we don't do, there are certain things we don't believe in. The British, bless them, God bless them, they have their own culture. But we also have our own culture. And I think it's wrong when we look at our culture, compare it to the British culture, and say, oh, ours is backwards, or it's demonic, or this and that and that and that. As Christian as we can get, as whatever we want to believe in, whatever religion we want to embrace, we should also embrace our own cultures and traditions. Which is why I'm very pleased nowadays when I see young Africans getting married, having a traditional wedding, and actually fully participating in it. It makes me so proud, because at least for that day, they're embracing the Africanism, and they're going through the motions of being an African bride or African, person getting married. So we should, don't wait till our kids are in their 16s or 17s, their late teens, before we start to instill in them that how African they are. We should start from when they're little. And that involves teaching them how to kneel down, how to greet elders, the way we do in Africa, not even just the way we were taught, but the way we do in Africa. Kneel down and greet your elders. I used to practically force my kids down because they fought against it, and I pressed them down. And they got the message that when you see, now it gets to the point that my daughter kneels down for even people she's not supposed to kneel down for.
Yeah.
Because she goes, my mom said I should kneel down for everybody, so let me just kneel down before she presses my head down. But at the end of the day, you have people that you know here in the UK. The time is going to come that you're going to be pitted against your African family. Either they come on holiday or you go to Nigeria. And then you can't stand on your feet and shake their hands or say hi. They're going to tell you your history, and you won't. The way that's going to make you feel, you won't like it. But when you go in front of anybody and you bend down, they're going to hug you, they're going to kiss you, they're going to love you, and that will make you feel good. That you've been well brought up. Your mother did a great job. Your father did a great job. You know.
Yeah. So I guess the point you're making is that to make the children proud of their culture.
Proud of their culture.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of parents are not doing that.
Yeah.
I had Nigerian parents telling me their child is not going to kneel down to anybody.
Why?
And I'm looking at them like, well, why? You did that growing up, so why are you taking that from your child? You are robbing them of their culture if you don't teach them.
Yeah. Although I guess sometimes we can take it overboard, like myself. I end up kneeling down for people. My sister's like, oh, do you know you're older than that person? And I'm like, but I don't know. I guess like your daughter, it's better to just be polite and just show that you have that in you, that you've been brought up well. I guess it's a sense of pride that I come from a good home, whatever it is in terms of the African way of looking at things. But I love the points that you have raised in terms of mothering. But how are you helping mothers? Is there a way that Sisters and Divas is helping mothers who may be having difficulties? How do you identify those mothers, and how do you then intervene if that is something you are doing?
Because like I said, I think I mentioned it at some point that what we intended to do with Sisters and Divas this year, and what we found ourselves doing, I like is the part. We just wanted to talk to people about, Nigerian kids, African kids are getting involved in crime. Be watchful, pay attention to your kids. That's what we set out to do. But where we are today is actually taking us into another dimension that it looks like we're going to be setting up. We're going to, like what you talked about, for example, we're going to be having workshops. We started having workshops we've never done before.
Yeah.
5 years of Sisters and Divas. But we had our first workshop yesterday. That involved school teachers, parents, community leaders, the police, people from the council, and we're going to be having a series of meetings like that. We're planning other ones with the youth themselves. They're going to be dialoguing with them, raising this kind of issues about kids not knowing exactly where they fit in. And then, of course, we're going to be helping, we're going to have programs to help mothers, especially mothers that are struggling. I don't like using the word single parents.
Yeah.
Because when people say single parents, they're talking about single mothers. Okay? But I brought my kids more or less single-handed. I was married, but my marriage didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I brought up my kids more or less single-handed. And I struggled, but I never had any of these problems. Okay? Now, there are going to be a lot of mothers that are going to struggle, that are going to be struggling. Not because they're bad parents, not because they're bad persons, bad people, but because they are overwhelmed. They're having to cope with work, with households, household problems, with the kids, with everything, and they just find everything just a bit too much.
Yeah.
So those kind of parents, we want to be helping them as well. Then parents that have problematic kids, or kids that are demonstrating signs of, all these kind of issues, we are going to be reaching out to them as well. But that is a 6 to 12 month plan, because we didn't start with all this. These are things that we're just beginning to get to the point of realizing that this is what we might need to start doing as Divas.
Okay. Fantastic. And then you've got your event on the 7th of May.
Yes, no. We've got 2 events. We've got an event on the 20th of May. That is tomorrow, actually, Saturday. We've got
tomorrow is the 28th.
It's the 20th of April. We're going to be having the first of a series of peaceful demonstration marching. Okay.
Is that tomorrow? Tomorrow 28th, okay.
Tomorrow 28th, from Abbeywood through Plumstead and ending up in Woolwich. And that is basically to come out as a community and to jointly express ourselves as Africans, as parents, not just Africans, as parents, not just as mothers, but as parents from whatever race, that look, we are opposed to gangs, to knife and gun crime. I just want to reach out to the kids and appeal to them that, look, please just stop the killing, drop the knife, lose the gun, and just let's talk about these things together. Violence is not always the only solution. There are other ways you can solve issues, you can express yourself, you can even protect yourself, not necessarily by carrying a gun. And then we're having the original event, which is the Sisters and Divas evening, where all this started from, on the 24th of June at Marriott at Bexley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, which one is on the 7th?
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything on the 7th?
No.
Okay, I thought I saw things on Instagram saying no.
I had one yesterday, and then I had another one. I know there's a series of other events.
Yeah.
Like Jasmine Daisy and Kashif and DJ Kashif are planning a bus ride through London.
That's it. Is that the one on the 7th?
I think that's the one you might be talking about. I'm not sure of the date.
Okay, I think that's the one I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a bus ride through London, again in the same vein, appealing to the kids.
Okay.
You know, and all that. I'm sure she'll come and talk about it at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. It's great to see you taking such a stance and you know, pushing things forward. But not only that, it sounds like you're really trying to support mothers as well, which is what we like. We don't want to keep talking about the problem on this show. We want to talk about and highlight people, yes, who are actively in the community and actually doing something. Because it's up to us as a media house to show the other side of the story. Okay, yes, we know there's an issue and it might be blown over by the mainstream media, but we as a community, we are aware of people who are actively trying to make a difference. And I commend you for trying to push it forward, because it's not always an easy thing to be consistent with anything. But an issue that's important to us is important to everyone. And the fact that you recognize that what affects me will affect you.
It will, yeah.
You know,
people do ask me, some police officers that I workshop yesterday were asking, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Have you been a mother of a victim? I'm like, no, it's never happened to anybody in my family.
Yeah, but I was
as the mother.
Yeah, I was really, really touched, and really, I was actually almost crying when I saw the interview of Abraham's mum on the news lately. I think it was on ITV News that I saw. I actually did shed a tear because, you know, she said, I think I'm going to start crying now. It's a little bit emotional because she said that that's her only son, and she had waited 8 years to have him, and then, you know, she just lost him like that. And it's the case of he actually helped somebody. And we're thinking that's the reason behind the motive behind the killing. And it's just like, why? You know? It saddens me. And obviously the child that's done that to another child is really troubled.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you know, because the kids we're talking about, like I said, the police are not necessarily coming forth with any information. But because I went to visit her, from what she said to me, even weeks before he was killed, Abraham did express that he was fearing for his life.
Yeah, that he had threats made against him.
He was threatened by these same boys, and they reported to the police, to social services, to
the police should have done more to protect him, actually, because
but what they are said to have said, because I'm only quoting what somebody else said, is that because that wasn't his home, it was his mother's home, and his mother had nothing to do with the case. So they couldn't protect the mom. All they could say was that he stopped coming there. How can you tell a child to stop visiting his mother? You know, so that particular family was actually failed because he recognized that threat even long before he eventually got killed. But everybody that was supposed to help him, unfortunately, did not
help him.
So that is how we lost that promising young man. And when I went to visit his mom, I think just about a week after the events occurred, I was totally broken myself.
Yeah.
Okay, because when you look at a mother that's actually lost everything, and she was trying to blame herself, I was like, you can't blame yourself. You didn't put that knife through your boy's heart. Okay. But she was saying that she could have taken the time, she could have found the means of moving herself and moving out of that area
to protect him,
to protect her son, but she didn't.
There's so many things that could go through her mind. You know, I pray that she gets the right healing because
I know.
it's hard. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I'm really grateful. You invited me to your show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And so how can people find out more about what you're doing?
Okay, we've got a website, sistersanddivas.com.
Okay.
But I'm more of a Facebook person than anything else. I've got postings on Twitter, on LinkedIn, Baroness J's World. But if you go to my Facebook page, everything is there. We've got the Baroness.
What is your Facebook page?
My own page is Barnes J. Jumi Ario.
Barnes J. Okay.
I changed recently. Barnes J. Olajumoke Ario. But you can also go to the Sisters and Divas page on Facebook, and everything is there.
Fantastic. All the best for tomorrow. So if anyone is interested in joining, they can join you at Abbeywood.
They can join us at Little Abbeywood.
Okay.
We're going to be congregating. We're going to be congregating from 10 o'clock, and then we set off for the match at 11 on the dot.
Fantastic. I hope you have great weather for it. All right. Enjoy your day. Take care. All right. Bye. Bye.
This is ABN Radio, projecting rich African culture through the power of radio.
Wondering where we are off to? Well, from the 1st of May 2018, ABN TV will be moving from Sky Channel 235 to Sky Channel 195. ABN TV is still available on Virgin TV Channel 842. ABN TV, your favorite black broadcaster. Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Stay clear of me. Better keep far from me. Don't wanna catch your mood. Today's about one thing. Good vibes only. You can miss me with your issue. I don't need your rain or your clouds. So go. Is this the only place you can be now? I won't let nobody come and ruin my vibe. So go. I won't let nobody come and ruin my vibe. Hell no. You can back it up. Just back it up now. You can back it up. Back it up now. You can back it up. Back it up. Bingo. Such a great moment. Almost picture perfect. Here you come with your gloom. You need to check the mood swings. Ain't got no time for it. Today's just not about you. No, no. I don't need your rain or your clouds. So go. Is this the only place you can be now? I won't let nobody come and ruin my vibe. So go. I won't let nobody ruin my vibe. Come on. Hell no. Back it up, back it up. Back it up, just back it up. And go. Back it up and go. Yeah. small town girl living in a lonely world.
Dr. Crane on the beat, y'all.
Girl, I'm so much into you. Will do anything for you. You got my back, I got your back. You know me, girl, and I know you too. Girl, I'm so much into you. Will do anything for you. You got my back, I got your back. You know I'll do anything to please you. I ain't gonna break your heart. I ain't gonna break your heart. I don't wanna see you cry. I don't wanna see you cry. I ain't gonna break your heart. I ain't gonna break your heart. I don't wanna make you cry. I just wanna see you smile. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only. I'm gonna write your name across my heart, girl. Gonna let the world know you mine forever, eh? The beauty is your power. The smile is your sword. She's amazing, most wonderful, most talented woman in the world. I'm blinded by your beauty, cause it comes from your heart and it reflects in your eyes. Girl, I'm so much into you. I'll do anything for you. You got my back, I got your back. You know I'll do anything just to please you. Girl, I'm so much into you. I'll do anything for you. You got my back, I got your back. You know I'll do anything just to please you. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only. You are my angel, baby. My one and only. Girl, I'm never gonna leave you lonely. Cause I'm in love with you only.
ABN Radio, home of Afrobeats.
Oh man, the 90s. So cool. Remember this banging tune? Jump on the tram, catch it up. Grab a sandwich, jump it. My Nancy plays the trumpet. Dun, 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 dun.
You can't totally recall the 90s, like if you had PPI and a loan, credit card or mortgage, for example. Luckily, we don't have to. Many PPI providers now have online checking tools. Search FCA PPI for more info.
Do it now!
The Discourse on ABN Radio, engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio.
This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Everywhere good, oh. No story. Living my life for the fast lane. You already know I'm a bad boy. Shawty wanna go downtown with me. She already know I'm a bad boy. Do anything for my man, yeah. You already know I'm a bad boy. Fly boy. I'm a go jago. You already know I'm a bad boy. Yeah, I'm a loco. I'm a loco. I'm a loco. Now you're rocking with I'm a loco. I'm a loco.
So you've been listening to me today, Esther Alade, on The Discourse. A very emotional show today. We've been talking to people who are within the community, actively campaigning and praying and doing stuff in order to combat youth crime, knife crime, gun gangs, etc. We had the lovely Pastor Junior Spence earlier on from Pray for Our Youth organization. talking about what he's doing. Pray for Youth Organization, Don't Die Young, Drop Your Knife campaign. And he's been taking a stance spiritually by having prayer sessions, and they've got one coming up next week, Friday, I believe. Let me just read the flyer out. So if you would like to go to that and take part in that, you're more than welcome to do that. And that's at Hackney. So pray for Hackney, East London. Pray for our youth. Don't Die Young. And that is on Friday the 4th of May 2018, and that's the Bridge Academy, Hackney East E2 8BA. And then we spoke to Baroness J, Jumoke Ariyo, who's a blogger, media personality, and the founder of SAID, Sisters and Divas and Mothers Against Gang and Knife Crime. And she was, really open about what she's trying to do for organization, and they have a peaceful walk tomorrow from Abbey Wood Lidl, and you're more than welcome to join them from 10 a.m. and marching and talking to mothers who may be affected or haven't been affected, but I guess we all need to come together as a community. And I had Junior join me 3 times today. Thank you, Junior, for helping out. That was great discussion. And I've still got that tag, a unified discourse. Yes. And Junior made some really good points. And some of your points were actually echoed by Lady Baroness, in terms of mothers should take, or families should take their children back home to get them fully engrossed in the culture and who they are. And also, importance of learning the language, but mostly it's about identity. I think it's what we've been sort of pinpointing, knowing who you are, being strong in your identity. And I guess we as a community need to do that and help each other in ensuring that our children know who they are. And Abraham, may he so rest in peace. Our thoughts are with mothers who have lost children. In any way, shape or form, may they so rest in peace, and may you get the healing that you need. So that's been the discourse today, slightly emotional, and we'll be taking on more points, or speaking about more points around this, but different aspects of this, but more so looking at solutions and looking at how we can all come together as a community to help each other, because that is the most important thing. Not being selfish, not looking inwards, but looking outwards, knowing that everything we do has a ripple effect. And we need to ensure that we are part of that change process by starting within our community. And yes, maybe it has been heightened by the media. And I think it's a good thing, because it's made us wake up to the fact that it's happening more. So more African children are being affected. So we need to take a stance for change and do something that will help the solution, whichever way we can all come together, as little as it might be, just reaching out to a child that might be in need, reaching out to a family that might need the help. Maybe putting them in Saturday classes to make sure that they engage, because as Pastor Gina Spence told us, we need to identify children who are not in education, who are not in any form of training, and who are in social services or may have, been part of petty crimes, are the ones who are hard to reach and may be involved more in crime activities. And it's up to us to ensure any members of our families or their friends, we look out for children like that and ensure that we help them. Because it's about everyone's future. So that has been the discourse this morning. I'm here with you every Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning, talking about issues that affect us as a whole, social and political. And if you have any topics you'd like to discuss, do please send us an email or just follow us on our social media platforms and engage and let us know what it is that you would like to talk about. On to next week. Have a lovely weekend. Take care.